Hi, this is Adrian. First, I want to apologize for the lateness of this video. I posted another one, but it was too long and we couldn't get it mounted on the web site, so I'm at it again, and this may take a week or two to get it down pat, in that I am not the most technologically savvy person in the world. I just want to go over very briefly a couple of points about your readings this week. First of all, in Chapter 1, as I mentioned in the syllabus, pay attention to the bullet points and the focus questions and also the reflection questions. The idea here is to give you a background for assessing the educational system in your country or region of the world. So it's important to get some sense of what we're talking about when we use terms like comparative education, and some of the theories that have been instrumental in forming the way we look at education in general. A couple of other things that I would mention about the first chapter is that comparative education is not really a specialty area. It is a field and not a discipline. And that's important because the points of view that are expressed in in comparative education ranged very broadly, from things like psychology and sociology to political issues, to issues of governance and a variety of other things. So this chapter will give you a good sense of some of the basic underlying models involved, and then you can take these models and sort of extrapolate what type of educational system your country has. Pay particular attention to instrumentalism, as instrumentalism is the idea that we can actually approach comparative education scientifically. Now, there are problems with that model because, as you might imagine, these things are not as predictable as scientists would like. So consequently, when people say things such as a particular technique should work in a classroom, anywhere the classroom is, that's obviously, not accurate. We have to take in cultural variables and a variety of other things. In Chapter 2, make sure you pay particular attention to Figure 2.1, and later on in the chapter, Figure 2.3 and 2.4. This chapter goes into the theoretical perspectives in much more detail. I particularly think it's important for you to understand structuralism and functionalism and juxtapose those with the theories of Marxism. As I mentioned also in the readings for this week, Karl Marx had a very important impact on comparative education because Marx viewed the process as being very fluid and dynamic and constantly under change. He was a great follower of Friedrich Hegel, who was an economist and political philosopher, who talked about the fact that we generally have some sort of thesis in a problem which is juxtaposed to an antithesis. The two meld in some way, forming a new thesis, and the process goes on. There tends to be a lot of validity for his comments, not only in education, but certainly in the field of political struggle. Another very important issue is the issue of colonialism and the colonial model of what education was meant to do. There are those that say that the colonial model still exists. It's called neocolonialism, in which people are trained by colonial powers to do relatively menial tasks, and the true elite in education are relegated to the more developed countries. So pay particular attention to that. In some of your regions of the world and countries, you're going to find that the colonial model exists today. Okay, I think that's about it. Also pay attention to the reflection questions in this chapter. My final comment would be the idea here is for you to get the background, to be able to make a cogent analysis of your particular country or region in terms of where their educational system came from and how their educational system functions in the country today. So you want to be looking at things like access to education. You want to look at gender differences in who gets educated, how complex and how much higher education there is in a particular country, questions of access. All of those things are going to be important for you to write your paper. And hopefully also out of this readings for this week, you will get a good sense of the background that should go in the introduction of your paper. In fact, your assignment is set up in such a way that you could probably use the answers to some of these questions as part of your introduction. So, as I say, I apologize for the delay in this, and hopefully over the coming weeks these videos will get better and they will be informative. Okay, take care. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me via email. Bye-bye.